panic and fear is what it thrives on, the system thrives on, and there are many reasons for that. So if more you panic, worse it's going to become, your targeting. I also have a little bit of advice, and this is just from my experience with talking with TIs. Don't assume you know who is behind it. I hear things from, it's the Zionists, or it's the Chinese, or the Russians, or it's my neighbor, and everybody has an idea who's behind it. You actually don't, because the mind control is so powerful, and their techniques so advanced, and they can use voice transformation and other techniques that will make you assume you know who it is. They can use correlated events. Every time your neighbor comes home, you feel like they're being microwaved. Well, correlation does not mean causality, and you have to be careful about that. Pointing fingers at groups and assigning blame and things like that. And, every TI is going to do it because you want to know who is this? And, it is hard to think that anyone could be betrayed by somebody they didn't even know. And then I'd say my final recommendation is just look at the big picture. So let's just look at the legal picture, for example. You go to your state. You win, even if you could win a lawsuit in your state. Michigan has laws against electronic weapons. They can't be enforced because this is something bigger. This is federal. So let's say it even makes it to the Supreme Court. But this is classified, and this has been done by the CIA for a long time, along with other agencies experimenting on the citizens. And this is worldwide. There's no way any agency or government could possibly emit this level of assassination and torture without a complete collapse. So know what you're dealing with. That's going to take a long time to be solved.
So they saw that COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program set up by J. Edgar Hoover, saw that the Panthers were doing a damn good job because all over the country they got this buzz. Similar to how Thug Life is.
Drug Life?
Thug Life.
Thug Life.
Yeah. So now, the Panthers got everybody talking about the Panthers and we want to be free and we want decent housing and talking good, not just bitch hole, straight good. And they start infiltrating. Now, why would they do this to a young black organization? And why would you not think they would do it to me? They infiltrated them, meaning they got people to say that they were Panthers, they joined the Panthers, and they would start the ruckus. Like, say, let's go shoot up the Botanical Gardens or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And do it in the name of the Panthers, but it's a cop. You know what I'm saying? And everybody think it's the Panthers because he's dressed like a Panther. You know what I'm saying? And he's screaming the Panthers, but he's a cop. He's been sent by the FBI. They got papers to document this shit.
Do you think the Black Panthers were successful? Do you think that they were wiped out by the government? Or how do you view the situation?
I think that they were successful because they bred me. I believe myself to be the offspring of the Black Panthers, because I see and I learned from what they had. They got did in by the media, their love for cameras, and an extremely sinister government. And they just happen to be born in the same time as a motherfucker named J. Edgar Hoover.
having worked with a lot of these victims that are hearing voices that are being put into their head, not from schizophrenia, most of them kind of have an idea of where it's coming from. Some of them are wrong, because the technology is meant to foster a wrong belief, make you think it's, you know, your relatives or your parents or, you know, your work.
So you may be fingering the wrong person, is all I'm saying. Because you got to remember, this is going on all around the world, in every country in the world, not just your hometown, not just your neighbor, not just your state, not just the United States. It's everywhere it's going on. So this has to be something much bigger and global. And so I you know, that's just my opinion. It's doubtful that it's your neighbor doing it.
The research is led by Dr. Michael Persinger.
Basically, at any given time, all experience is due to those portions of the brain that are most metabolically active. If we can simulate that by applying complex, meaningful magnetic fields to the brain, we can also induce those experiences.
This experiment is testing the idea that mystical perceptions and paranormal experiences can be turned on at will, not by hypnosis or shamanic drumming, but by a scientist, stimulating nerve activity in the brain. These experiences are so strong, they're utterly real for the person who has them. They can be as profound as a religious conversion, yet we can generate them with a machine.
Technological mind tricks is basically using advanced technology on a person and or an environment to convince targets of illusions. Technological mind tricks are more abundant than many realize. I've been able to pick many of them up after sussing them out in my own case. This technology has interacted with quite a large amount of people. However, it is almost always misidentified as other sources. I have found advanced artificial intelligence is at some of the deepest parts of the rabbit hole.
But what are the limits? What else can people be made to believe?
But one thing that's really clear, you can control the person's experiences and they don't know they're being controlled. That's why this technology is a potentially powerful one and has a two-edge to its sword.
By telling their secrets, Their power is eroding.
Cutting-edge Black Project neuroscience involved using RF energy or microwaves and beaming them to areas of the brain, automating the function in that brain area. In other words, using electromagnetic directed energy frequencies and beaming them to areas of the brain that simulates natural functions. These methods can produce a wide variety of experiences and results, such as mental visuals in the canvas of imagination. That's virtual reality, VR. Internal voices are what society would term auditory hallucinations. That's V2K and electronic telepathy. Third eye experiences in the realm of the mind, which is done by exotic directed energy neuroscience. And full-blown mind control, electromagnetic mind hacking. RF energy, microwaves, and sonic are the main directed energy weapon mind control methodologies I am aware of. You can bet RF energy and microwave discoveries related to the mind are coming in the future in public neuroscience. Directed energy weapons use space-age AI guidance systems. They're really advanced. Mind-blowingly precise AI guidance systems control directed energy weapons. A target can be moving or in a car or plane, and the V2K and other tech neuroscience is still active. I suspect the US military has perfected apex guidance systems for directed energy weapons with how good they are. These technologies are potent enough to appear godlike to targets. The prime suspects for what is actually doing the mind control are Gwen towers, cell phone towers, satellites, and HARP-like installations. Cell towers use the same type of energy as brainwaves, that is RF energy. RF energy and/or microwave towers are lining the entire planet, and with how much mind control is abundant, it makes the most sense to me that cell phone towers are being rigged as mind-altering directed energy weapons. Also doing mind control, satellites to cover the non-cell tower saturated areas, and HARP.
Is the United States military working in the field of electronic mind control? Officially, the Department of Defense will not comment because the subject area is, quote, too sensitive. This scientist, who did not want his identity revealed, is employed by the U.S. government and has done secret RF weapons research. He believes that tests done with the LIDA and similar machines prove that humans are susceptible to remote alterations of mood and awareness.
Certain kinds of weak electromagnetic signals work exactly like drugs. And so the promise is that anything you can do with drugs, you could do with the right electromagnetic signals. Apparently, there are specific sites involved, specific functions involved. It's a matter of matching up, just like it is with a pill or a drug, to cause and effect. You could have a cause and effect relationship between a magnetic field and a biological function.
Well, it's like I've said in with other reporters and other shows, that guns and taxes won't control everybody.
Yeah.
Electromagnetic technology will.
Wow. So we all know that the government is into controlling us, right? And whatever they can use. And they've had very, very simple ways to control us in the past. I mean, they've got the media, they've got schools, they've got the income tax system. Everything that the government is doing is targeted towards controlling us. So, of course, they're going to have every branch of government working on this type of thing because that gives them very precise control.
Do you necessarily need a chip? Because I don't believe I've been chipped.
No, and That's a difficult question for me. I know a lot of people believe it's a microchip, and those theories floated around for many years. And, in the old days, yes, of course they chipped human beings. That was the current state of the technology, and it makes the problem by tracking and identifying human beings simpler. But when, many people got MRIs, X-rays, and they failed to produce any significant foreign bodies in their body, they decided, well, maybe it's a nano chip. Brain signatures are like fingerprints. They're unique enough that you can identify a specific brain signature from anybody else's. So in my opinion, you don't need any sort of microchipping to do this. It makes it much easier with your microchip, but you don't need it.
Some of the reasons for targeting. Experimentation for research and development, that's R&D. Political dissident targeting. Societal engineering is a big thing to the perpetrators of these crimes, and it can be the source of a targeting case, I believe. Eugenics can also be the source of a targeting case, in my opinion. A TI might have genetics the perps do not like, for example, genetics resistant to their new age or old age psyops. One of the key tenets of targeting is isolation. Targeting causes ostracization and, in effect, isolation from society. As I understand it, the people who run the military-industrial complex are into eugenics, and I believe this can be a reason for targeting. PsyOps can be a reason for targeting, like to disrupt the TI community or to throw people off the scent of their true targeting tastes. Societal engineering was part of why I was targeted. The top of the pyramid of the conspiracy on Earth are big societal engineers and have created a dangerous environment for those wishing to paradigm shift planet Earth with truth and progress. Truth-tellers have been targeted for assassination and discrediting for ages on Earth. Paradigm shifting the Earth to truth or opposing powerful corruption is a dangerous job. Something the perpetrators of targeting would like to hide is their political dissident targeting, which has arguably been behind the murders of people like Tupac, Bob Marley, John Lennon, Princess Di, Martin Luther King, and countless others. The reason why they target political dissidents is they are a threat to the established control systems. The shadow government especially has a sore spot for musician activists. Anyone who has a potential to move society in a way they do not want is a potential target.
Yeah, I mean, voices are the easiest ones because all you have to do is stimulate the cochlea with a set resonant frequency. It's very easy. Voices are very easy, and it isn't people imagining voices; they physically hear them. They physically hear, as I'm talking to you, my voice isn't inside your brain. My voice goes no further than an inch into your ear, no further at all. It's the electrical signal that makes you interpret how I sound. And once you've got this electrical signal, which can be a chip or lots of things, you can physically make people hear voices, certain voices. And it can be any conversation, and it can be anybody you want to hear. It can be a soft, angelic voice. It can be a god. It can be something that scares you, like a devil. It can be anything.
What we've been doing recently is generating words as magnetic patterns. And even though the person isn't hearing it through their ears, their brain is interpreting it. So they're actually having fragments of experiences as if they're hearing it when in actual fact it cannot be.
So obviously, yes, they can hack your passwords, but they can do it even more cleverly. That your brain, once they entrain your brain, rewire it to speak in thought rather than in pictures. About 40% of the population thinks in pictures, but they can retrain it to think in words. You will silently sound out your passwords every time you type, and they can read that from you, and that's part of the synthetic telepathy. Synthetic telepathy actually goes much further. They can read your emotional state, and stress levels are important, and that's why on these torture programs, they can sense if stalking bothers you, if other things. And you were asking about the break-ins. Well, why do they do the break-ins? The break-ins aren't actually to steal money from you. That's not why they're doing it. It's the same as stalking. They're trying to increase your stress levels. So whatever you cherish most, that is what they're going to attack. It could be a book you're reading. It could be a pair of clothes that you love that they'll cut up. But it's whatever you love. And generally, they don't try to steal anything of value. But with synthetic telepathy, absolutely, they can read your emotional state. They can induce an emotional state within the target. And this is very useful. This has so many purposes in warfare and spying and controlling populations. And the list goes on. There are over, a couple hundred uses that have been cataloged of this technology.
Electronic telepathy is a revolutionary technology that utilizes advanced artificial intelligence and exotic electromagnetic technology to produce methods of communicating directly from one mind to another, or interacting directly via one's mind with an artificial intelligence operator. Electronic telepathy is carried out in the modern age by Black Project directed energy weapons and post-singularity artificial intelligence. Endgame AI plays a pivotal role in electronic telepathy, and remotely done directed energy neuroscience is how endgame electronic telepathy is carried out. Here are some electronic telepathy capabilities I have witnessed. Any living being, including animal and insect, personal mental signatures can be interfaced. Any existent or fictional being can be artistically and powerfully impersonated. Any concept reproducible for communication purposes. Any emotion can be reproduced. Any sound in existence reproducible in a mind. That includes any voice or vocal tone. Any mental variable able to be applied to any area on the body. I term that the neurobody. Any color, including black, can be applied in stimulating ways to one's body experience via exotic neuroscience. Experiences ranging from incredibly spiritual to artistically dark and everything else in reality. Powerful psychological direction is possible with these technologies. V2K targeting targeted individuals. COINTELPRO-like programs have been rehashed in a new age of technological tyranny and terrorism. Many targeted individuals get electronic telepathy experiences for various reasons. One of the biggest reasons is to discredit them. Like COINTELPRO, these programs can often involve gaslighting or framing a target as mentally ill. Some of the endgame agendas for targeting via these technologies that I'm aware of is to 1. Get the TI diagnosed as mentally ill. 2. Drug the TI. 3. Isolate the TI. 4. Financial suppression and destroying of the TI's life. 5. Trauma-based mind control, directed energy weapon terrorism. And 6. Suicide is an endgame goal for the perpetrators for a lot of types of targeting. The most common electronic telepathy experiences I have encountered in my researching of targeting are AI-based impersonations of U.S. intelligence agents. I can almost guarantee that any TI speaking via V2K is speaking to an AI, not a real agent. Many TIs are fooled of complex illusions via these technologies, from spiritual warfare illusions to religiously themed targeting and much more. The perpetrators capable of targeting with V2K have a big bag of dirty tricks to do to targets, and they are prolific illusionists. Often the name of the game with 21st century targeting is to discredit targets while destroying their lives. When the truth comes to light, directed energy weapon terrorism could very well go down in history as the biggest injustice of the early 21st century. Mapping electromagnetics via electronic telepathy. All static knowledge and all potential scenarios in reality can be deciphered by electromagnetics via electronic telepathy. Every thought form, concept, conscious energy, emotion, sound, visual reality, and more is encoded in exotic electromagnetic neuroscience methods of communication. This means that a source with enough resources can examine every type of thought in existence and map them all out. This is a big part of post-singularity Black Project artificial intelligence. It's aware of every single type of knowledge in existence. Every different thought has its own frequency and waveform, and all of these can be reproduced by endgame technology.
Now, to detect them, if you actually have it, I mean, we're talking $1 million pieces of equipment, $10 million maybe for the equipment to detect it. But they're obviously doing it under Earth Gauss. Gauss is a magnetic field force.
Right.
And so it's very small, but it encompasses the Earth. And so you could hypothetically turn the Earth into an MRI machine.
influencing technologies operate invisibly and a lot of the time covertly. This provides for a prime environment for technologically induced illusions. Directed energy weapons are extremely potent, so potent they can pass as God or supernatural forces very easily to uninitiated targets. I aim to initiate people with my work and help people develop awareness-based defenses to these technologies. The Black Ops sources throw every illusion in the book at TIs with varying success. If you are a TI, some advice is to be careful for illusions. They're pretty crafty. One of the preferred illusions technological targeting sources with these technologies like to hide behind is demons. I know this from first-hand experience, as years ago earlier in my targeting I had technology hide behind a demonic possession presence. The articles shown explain how the Vatican has had a 100% increase in exorcism requests in the last 15 plus years. Safe to say some of those cases were Black Project technology hiding behind a demon facade. A demon facade creates a prime environment for getting away with crimes perpetrated by these technologies.
If you stimulate the deep portions of the temporal lobe, so you can get very, very vivid imagery, and the emotional commitment or the emotional sensation that something is profound, real, cosmically real, and personally significant.
Taking place in the world today is a sinister technological conspiracy using directed energy weapons and artificial intelligence to commit crimes, torture, terrorism, misdirection, disinformation, and psychological operations upon the population of the world. Part of this technological conspiracy are government synthetic dream mind control programs largely meant to coerce certain reactions out of people. I have a lot of first-hand experience with synthetic dreams and virtual reality, enough to know some of the ins and outs of these programs. One central aspect of dream state virtual reality psychological operations is predictive programming. Predictive programming is inciting an action to cause a predicted reaction. An example of this would be to give a target an intimate dream with someone they want the target to connect with, or a nightmare about someone they want the target to avoid, but these are very simple examples. Put simply, sources like the US military and CIA are giving people synthetic dreams to coerce a certain reaction out of them. Some aspects of synthetic dream mind control programs. As covered, predictive programming is key. Synthetic dream mind control programs are part of a massive dragnet of technological societal engineering attempts. Synthetic dreams are done remotely via directed energy weapons and artificial intelligence. They can also be done by implant, but there's no need for that. As almost always the case, when it comes to Black Project technology, the truth is shrouded in illusions, and there are many technological mind tricks done with a wide field of these technologies. I believe the truth is much less sensational than the supernatural cover stories of these technologies. I have received dozens of tortures in a virtual reality construct. One time I was nothing but a ball of consciousness, being hit with technological fear energy so hard it was painful. Part of the synthetic dream programs is torture. If you are a targeted individual, you probably know the Black Ops sources are liberal with torture. Synthetic dream programs can be carried out to do a punish-reward system. This is to manipulate someone into a certain agenda-oriented outcome or action. There's more to these programs, but I'd say it'd be very hard to figure it all out as a civilian, so I don't know it all. By being aware of synthetic dream mind control programs, one develops a safeguard for being targeted by these technologies. This is a major motivation for making this video. Going on in the world today is a war against the truth. You could say a lot is centered around the truth. Get close to the truth, and at the very least you get attention. Expose sensitive and important secret truths, and targeting including vicious character assassination is likely. There are psychological operations of all types aimed at all demographics. I plan to do future work exposing psychological warfare, so stay tuned for that.